Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Alpha Charlie channel. Short, sharp stream tonight. We're just going to be doing a quick Concorde departure from London's Heathrow Airport as we set the aircraft on its way across the Atlantic to New York. So we're going to be, like I say, short and sharp. We're going to get on with it a little bit here, so why don't we just jump into the aircraft straight away. There we go.
Set to radio.
So we're awaiting pushback. There's the aircraft, just waiting at the bay. Slightly in the wrong position, but we'll get over that. Now, no traffic.
They are set to main.
Just turn him off for a minute.
Yellow and on.
No air traffic control online at the moment, as you can see, so it is literally just going to be me pushing back, taxiing. We're going to be departing from runway 27 right today, which is the northern of these two runways here at Heathrow. You can see us right here. So we're going to probably go around to the right here, taxi past where Concorde is parked in real life, and Alpha Bravo that is, and probably straight up here on Alpha 3 and depart onto 7 right. The SID we're going to fly, the standard instrument departure that we're going to fly is the Compton 3 Foxtrot. So you see we'll intercept the 255 radial here, and then onwards we go towards Woodley NDB, and then Compton VOR, and climb away out towards our acceleration point.
West 01273, waypoint 4.
And so I'm going to change this to London, which is 113.6. I'm going to change this to 255 so that we can capture that radial on departure.
3
nav lights have gone out. That's good.
Loading checked, nav mode mix.
Loading checked, nav mode mix.
ASI bugs and pitch index, I've got 161.
Got the heading bugs to runway heading for now.
220, 259.
I've got 250 knots primed, but 6,000 feet primed as well, because that's the altitude it's said to climb to on the SID. Likelihood is we're going to burst through that as quickly as possible.
193, and back there 389, 385.
Now we take a look at the takeoff chart here. V1 at where are we? 146 knots. Rotate at 197 knots. Quite heavy today. Maximum takeoff weight.
Right, briefing is next.
And
okay, so we're departing off.
oh, that's single reheat failure. Sorry. In the dry. There we go. Rotate 199 knots. V2 at 220. So our safe climb speed is 220 knots.
4,000 feet or above. We'll take 2% on the power at London 7 DME. The safety height within 25 miles is 2,300 feet, and the top of climb is 3,300 feet, so we'll use 3,300 feet. We'll stop for the usual emergency items that we'd stop for, come to rest on the runway, make sure we monitor everybody and do the correct drills. We'll then agree a diagnosis and actions between us. If we're happy, we'll vacate the runway. If not, we'll call for assistance. If we have an emergency after V1 and it's to do with the engines, I'll ask for contingency power. We'll rotate in the normal way, and then we'll agree a diagnosis between us and run the checklists. If we need an immediate return, we'll circle around. Otherwise, we'll fly away to dump fuel and then come back. All happy?
Yep, that's all understood. Okay, ready to continue with the checklist?
Load sheet.
Checked.
0 fuel weight, 0 fuel CG.
91, 0.
Now, as ever, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and consider subscribing to the channel. Check out the socials as well, Alpha Charlie Photos on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously if you're on YouTube, please consider hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel, and if you're watching on Twitch, please hit the follow button as well.
Door lights.
All out.
Master warning.
Master warning will recall.
Has been recalled and checked.
Now, first point of call
throttles.
I want to show your attention to at the moment is these flags here. Notice that they're red. When we start the engines, they're going to flick the switch and they're going to go to blue.
We're ready to start if you can give us the pressure and the clearance.
Okay, coming up.
Good. Alrighty, so they're starting up engine.
Ready to start engine 3.
All clear.
So you'll see some flames come out here. There you go, we have rotation there. So you should see some flames coming out of the back of the aircraft just here. we go.
We're finished with the air on the right-hand side.
Thank you.
Hydraulics coming online now. We're ready to start number 2.
Okay, clear to start 6.
Same again with engine number 2. Everything looking good so far.
We're finished with the ground air.
Thank you.
Getting 5x5 from Hayden there. Thank you.
Take the
G'day,
ground
mate.
Electrics away.
Thank you.
Number 3, number 2 engine.
They are running.
Hydraulics.
It is checked.
Hello ground, please
I'm
make
going
sure
to
the
put
ground
the
equipment's
invite to
clear.
the
We're
Discord
clear to
channel
push back when you're ready.
in
Call
the
for
chat
brakes release.
for you
Okay,
there.
thanks.
Visors coming down.
All clear. Parking brake set to release.
Okay, brakes released at time 1007.
Excellent. So brakes released. And we should be moving any tick of the clock. It's telling me to release parking brakes. I have. Oh, there are still chocks in. They've left the chocks in. Where do I get rid of the chocks? Services. Toggle the chocks. There we go. And we're moving. Right, so we'll start engine number 4 shortly as well. So, as I mentioned earlier on, we're going to be on the Compton 3 Foxtrot departure. We're going up the northerly of the 2 runways there, 27 right. We're going to intercept that 255 radial, and we'll follow the procedure out to Woodley, NDB, and then on to Compton, the VOR there. As we get further along though, let's see if we can bring up a different window. I'd like to show you some of the flight plan that I've got. So let's just... Let's see if we can't open up something else for you.
Parking brake set to park.
Set the parking brake.
Brake set to park.
Excellent.
Number 4.
Okay.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Alrighty, so you can see here our routes that we're going to take as we head out to the west, out over the North Devon coast. So we'll be out here past Mulby. This is our acceleration point here, up gas, just to the south of Cardiff, in the English Channel, and then in the Bristol Channel, not the English Channel. And then we'll head out to the west, following this track here, Sarah and Mike, which will follow all the way across the North Atlantic. The aircraft's there. I'm going to bring the nose down. Let's see if we can't get a better angle of that. Bring that nose down to 5 degrees. There we go.
Number 4, number 1 engine.
They are running.
Pushback checklist complete. Nose wheel steering. Okay, let's check this side. Flight controls, AFCS and trims. They're all checked now. Stab and feel.
Stab and feel, that's me, so we'll go there. Blue, reset, blue, reset, blue, reset. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, that's all engaged.
14, I should say.
Anti-ice engine schedule.
It is off, and we are
Now,
flying.
I mentioned earlier about
Brake
those
fans.
red flags
Idle switches.
over here.
Set to
They've now
low.
turned
Door warnings.
blue.
Tested and off.
So let's just
Engine
check the
feed
flight
pumps.
controls. So we go rudder left,
They're all on.
rudder
Hydraulics.
right,
Checked.
Electrics.
pitch up, pitch down,
Checked. Ground bypass.
roll
Ground.
left,
Please make sure the ground equipment's clear. We'll look for you on the left-hand side.
roll
Thanks for your
right.
help.
Okay, have a good trip.
Okay,
And,
thanks. Bye. That's the
that
after
externally
checklist
as well.
complete.
Pitch up, pitch down, roll left, roll right, rudder left, rudder right. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. We're about to taxi. There's a few
Oh, thanks, Andy. Talk to you shortly.
pilots on the ground at Heathrow. There you go, 6 waiting for departure, and 3 have just arrived. So we'll give them a courtesy call of where we're going to taxi, which is north onto on Victor, and we'll turn right at Sierra, cross at Sierra 1, and we'll taxi via Alpha to 27 right. But I'll just taxi to Sierra 1 first of all. Heathrow traffic, Speedboat Concorde 1, taxi via Victor, Sierra, and we'll hold short of 27 left at Sierra 1, aiming to cross for 27 right, Heathrow. Right. Nine, 10. Brakes are released. Let's move forward. Now, for those of you new to Concorde, as opposed to other airliners, the takeoff procedure is slightly different with Concorde than it was with any other.
Taxi checklist. Visor and nose.
Down on 5.
Down 5 degrees.
Brakes.
Have been checked and are normal.
Flight instruments.
Checked here, no flags.
Set.
Flight controls EFC.
Yep, they're all in blue and the light is out.
Trims.
2.5 set for takeoff.
Set for takeoff.
Yeah, so Concorde departures, a lot of subsonic or today's airliners, they will select a power setting for takeoff. Yeah, no worries, mate. You just cross ahead of the taxiway there. No worries. Yeah, they will have a power setting that they'll use for takeoff, which is calculated based on the aircraft's weight and the runway length and the flap settings and all sorts of performance calculations. With Concorde, it wasn't like that. Every single one was full power, full afterburner departure. And thank you very much, Art Jomka, for the follow over there on Twitch. Very much appreciated. Welcome. Where are you watching from? Now the other reason I don't mind a longer taxi here, I could just go from this runway, but I don't mind the longer taxi just because at the moment our centre of gravity is outside the rear limits, so by burning off just a little bit of extra fuel we get that takeoff centre of gravity in the envelope that we need it. Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 1 via Sierra, cross 27 left, then taxi via Alpha, we'll hold short of 27 right, Heathrow traffic. So those of you who've seen the DVD, the ITVV DVD of Flying Concorde, they depart from this runway here, 27 left. But today we're going to go over to the northern runway. We'll notice that there is another Concorde sat there in real life, Concorde Golf Bravo Oscar Alpha Bravo. The second of, well actually the third I think it was to arrive for British Airways. Second registered. So we're flying in Alpha Charlie today, kind of fitting, name of the channel. Now I can see, I was on the wrong frequency. Heathrow traffic, Speedbird Concorde 1, taxi via Alpha, hold short of 27 right at Alpha 3. All that time I was transmitting to 121.9. Oops.
Reverse air shaft.
And Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 57 Super, waiting behind the company,
Idle.
787-9 for runway 27 right.
Idle. Idle reverse. And cancel. Seats and harness next.
So we've got
Lights
a
locked, power off and secure.
British Airways A380 and a Virgin Atlantic 787 ahead of us by the looks of it. Can't see any other traffic coming that way,
Virgin
so
Atlantic 449 departing runway 27.
we'll stop at Alpha 3, which is what we said we'd do anyway.
Traffic, Speedbird at 32 heavy, established, ILS 27 left at 10 miles.
Now, this is a sight you would never have seen. Concorde waiting for an A380.
Traffic, Speedbird 57 Super, holding short runway 27 right.
Yep, so we're just waiting for this Virgin 787 to depart, and the A380 will go. I should have gone around that way actually to get the full length, because we are at max takeoff weight today. Oh, and there's another aircraft that has just spawned on the other side of the runway there. I wonder what that aircraft is. CRJ Regional Jet. Oh, it's Speedbird 2, okay. Now you see that fuel CG switch, fuel CG indication has started moving forward. It's almost in line with the orange now, just a little bit to go, and then it's inside the envelope. And we'll hear an announcement shortly. Center of gravity takeoff switch. So there you go, the Virgin Atlantic 787 is away.
And Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 57 Super, landing up on runway 27 right, Heathrow.
I'm not going to make an announcement right now, but when he's rolling, we'll line up and wait. Now you might have noticed this clock down here, 1 minute 17. That's how long we're going to have the reheats armed for departure, and then we'll hear a call of 321 noise.
32 heavy, shot final 27 left.
And we'll switch those afterburners off, and the top readout is just the time. So let's just hold on here.
Takeoff CG switch.
There you go, take off
It's set
CG
to
switch.
54%. The taxi checklist is complete.
Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 1, after departing company A380 will line up and wait 27 right. And yep. Go anytime you like.
And Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 57, super departing runway 27 right, Heathrow.
Cool, away you go. Excellent, good on you, Vishnu. Alright, let's get it. Now, we might wait a minute or two when we do get onto the runway. In fact, I know we will, because we're going to let the wake turbulence from the A380 go, and also we'll quite quickly catch him up, even though he's turning to the south. That's an illustration of what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to just spawn wherever you want.
Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 32 heavy, vacated 27 left. Now taxiing to 715.
Brakes, we'll start the takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff, check please.
Briefing takeoff data.
Okay, no change to the briefing and we're a stopper.
Okay, understood. Landing lights.
They're all on.
Transponder.
Squawking.
And Heathrow traffic, Speedbird 57, super
Wheel
380
lights.
departed runway
Off.
27 right, Heathrow.
Yep, they're off here. Master warning.
Called. There's nothing there. Inhibited.
Alright,
Takeoff monitor.
Armed.
Reheats.
selected.
Selected.
4 white.
4 white
PG
there.
index.
13 degrees.
Radar.
He's well off to
It's off.
the left now, which is good.
That's the before takeoff checklist complete.
Alright, so we're ready to rock and roll. So like I say, Concorde departures, always full reheat. So we're going to release the brace. You'll hear 3, 2, 1. Now I'll put the throttles fully forward. The reheats will kick in and we'll be on our way. Alright, so let's do that. 3, 2, 1, now. We'll see the reheats kick in. And we'll just kick the aircraft straight.
Airspeed building.
got
100 knots.
Power set.
4 greens, so power's set.
V1.
V1, so we're committed to getting airborne now regardless.
Rotate.
Rotate, let's pull that nose up gently.
V2. Positive climb.
Oh, bit of wind.
Gear coming up.
That nose down just slightly. Allow the aircraft to accelerate. We'll get to 240 knots, then we'll pull it back up.
240 knots. Noise.
Make that turn, intercept that radial.
After takeoff checks, please.
Landing gear.
Up, lights off, neutral.
Landing lights.
They're all on.
Master warning.
Recalled.
Flight director's on. Just bring that nose down.
That's the
just
after
slightly.
takeoff checks complete with the nose, still at 5.
And switch this over to the INS. Alrighty, we are airborne now, climbing away at 240 knots. Flight engineer will add in some more power shortly.
% on the power.
There you go, an extra 2%. We're very heavy today. That's why we're only at, what are we, 2,000 feet? Or not even, 1,500, 1,600 feet. I'll say no speed restriction now, that means we can go up to 20 knots to bring the nose and visor up.
Coming up.
Nose is in the fully up position now.
Visor's coming up.
And up comes the visor. So there you go. That's going to make it considerably quieter here on the flight deck. Now, like I say, there's no air traffic control online, so by this point we would have got some continuous climb. I'm going to take us up to 28,000 feet, flight level 280. And that's what we've got primed now, and we're just going to hold this pitch. We've got the luxury of being able to look out the window a little bit. They wouldn't be doing it in real life. Just bring that nose down just slightly. As the speed increases, we're passing through 3,200 feet now. Out over the town of Reading. I'll be able to see Reading railway station there. And then obviously behind us there is traffic and the airport itself. Alrighty, there you go. We are pumping through 300 knots, so we'll ask it to hold that airspeed. That'll give us a bit of a quicker climb.
Throttling 99%.
There you go. Pushing through 6,000 now, and look at that that climb rate that we've got going now. That's excellent. So 5 minutes into the flight, we're at 7,000.
Throttling 101%.
There you go, full power now at 7,000 feet. We can do that. There's no noise restrictions. So we're just going to hold that airspeed for now. So I might just put it back into pitch hold. We'll bring the nose down and accelerate.
Your throttles.
My throttles, well, we're going max throttle, baby. And there you go. Now we've got a healthy climb rate of 2,000 feet per minute as we climb away to the west. Set 1013 on my side. Keep that side on the local setting. Gone past Compton now, so we're going to set this to our next VOR.
310 for 280 with a prime 1013 is set, and I've got 53.8.
Right, so we're through 10,000 feet now, so I might lower that nose just a little bit more so that we can build that speed up, get around that 400 knots mark. Now the VOR I've got it tuned into at the moment, 114.2, is actually Land's End, so we're quite a way away from that. As you can see, 182 nautical miles. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in the English Channel that we might use. We've got Fairford is off to our right, Bryce Norton will be off to our right as well, over in this direction. But I think we're going pretty well. Nathan's on board, how are you? Doing a cheeky little departure and acceleration, so we're not going to do a full flight in this stream. This is just the departure and the acceleration through to Mach 2, and we'll get the aircraft into the cruise, and then that will be the end of the stream. So probably got another, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes to go of the stream, so sit back, relax. You're flying Concorde today on the Alpha Charlie channel. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have already, thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. Doing okay, hope all is well with you. Yeah, mate, long day at work, but very enjoyable still, so pretty happy.
Taxi turn lights.
They're all off.
Climb checks complete. The fuel is running aft.
Let's climb. Sorry, I just wasn't. Someone messaged me, I was just replying, so I'm just slightly overspeeding at the moment. So let's get that nose up. Do that for now, get that nose up, there we go, and we'll go max climb. Alrighty, so we're climbing healthily now through 17,000 feet, and Visual reference with the ground is disappearing. So that's where we are now. Now we're not following that dotted line exactly, but we will be making a turn shortly. We've got 4 miles to run to our next waypoint, 3 miles, and then, do you know, our climb performance is so slow today because we're that heavy that we might just be able to do a continuous climb and acceleration.
Through 20 for 280 with a prime 1013 is set, and I've got 54.8.
It's still going aft.
Excellent, that's the fuel being transferred aft now. So these orange markers here are the forward and aft centre of gravity limits, and with Concorde it was quite unique in that they used to pump the fuel forwards and backwards to trim the aircraft out to make it nice and aerodynamic, and therefore much more fuel efficient. So at takeoff we were at 53.5%. And these orange markers were a lot more towards the top of this indicator than they are now. As we get faster, the centre of gravity moves towards the rear of the aircraft, and so we have to pump the fuel back to the rear as well. So actually now we will have a small period of subsonic cruise, I think, by the looks of it. So we're climbing at 3,000 feet per minute. We've still got 5 minutes to go before our acceleration point approximately. Now you can see our Mach number there, 0.92. Now the irregular subsonic airliner that you'd fly on today will cruise anywhere between Mach number of 0.74, let's say, and 0.88, let's say, that sort of range, rough range. So we're already considerably faster than your regular subsonic airliner at the moment at a Mach number of 0.94. So we're going to cruise at Mach 0.95 for this initial part of the flight. So we'll level off at 28,000 feet. I've asked the auto throttles to Mach hold. I'm going to keep an eye on the airspeed as well, because I might use airspeed acquire to balance those throttles when we get close to leveling off. We don't have any traffic to worry about at the moment. There's a Emirates 777 which is way over there to our right, and he's probably 6,000 or 7,000 feet above us. We've got a guy chasing us in another Concorde using the call sign Speedbird 2, who you may have seen on departure. He's spawned up at the side of the runway there, and he's messaging me now. Yeah, I think he must be new to Concorde. He's told me I'm speeding.
Altitude alert, 1,000 to go.
But yeah, you can't just spawn anywhere you like. You have to be at a gate if you're gonna come online and fly on VATSIM. Alrighty, let's use 390 knots as our target speed, which is around that Mach number, maybe 385. I've found with FS Labs Concorde, if you try and hit Mach hold, it doesn't exactly hold the Mach number that you were on. It just accelerates slightly. So, yeah, decide to use the airspeed acquire mode where I can.
Altitude acquire.
So there you go, and we've acquired 28,000 feet, flight level 280. Now, temperatures today, pretty hot. That's another reason for our relatively slow climb, 7 degrees warmer than international standard atmosphere. Look at the temperature on the nose. Currently we're subsonic, so it's only 10 degrees at the moment on the tip of the nose. We'll come back to that when we get to Mach 2. You'll see a vast difference. Now, I'm going to be a bit preemptive. I'm going to clear us up to 60,000 feet, ready for our supersonic climb and acceleration. looks good, doesn't she? Alright, so you can see from the INSs down here, we've got 2 minutes to go.
To the acceleration point.
There you go, he just told you. 18 miles, 17 miles to go, so approximately 9 or 10 miles a minute, roughly, at this speed. But when we're flying at Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, 21 miles per minute. This aircraft really was a phenomenon. Now, what we're going to do when we get to the accel point, I will push the throttles fully forward. I'll have already disconnected the auto throttles, which I'll do shortly. And the aircraft will start to accelerate, and as the airspeed indicator needle gets close to this yellow and black arm, I'll put the aircraft in a climb and light the reheats, and they'll come on in pairs. You'll see 2 white lights here and then the other 2 as well. So we're getting close to that. 10 miles to go shortly.
10 miles.
There you go, and you'll hear a countdown from 5 when we get there too. Now, Concorde, an absolutely unique airliner, the only airliner with reheats, or afterburner as you might more commonly know them. And we'll, like I say, we'll light them in pairs. In fact, I might do that outside view to illustrate that fact as well. Alrighty, at 5 miles I'm going to disconnect the auto throttles so that they don't fight against me when I put the power in.
3. 2. 1.
Accel, so let's put those throttles fully forward. Now the aircraft starts to accelerate. Let's go outside and light those reheats. There's the inboard pair coming on now.
Outboard selected.
Well, they're on, but it hasn't shown it. There you go, 4 white lights here. Well, it hasn't shown. There you go. Didn't show them coming on. Approaching Mach 1 now, so we're about to go through the sound barrier, through the speed of sound. The indication will be on the vertical speed indicator here. You'll see this go a little bit haywire as the shockwave goes over the nose of the aircraft, so keep an eye out for that. There it is.
Mach 1.
Mach 1.
We are supersonic.
Transparencies de-ice and demist.
They're all off.
Mach 1 checks complete. 55. 1. Going aft.
We are supersonic, ladies and gentlemen. You are now travelling faster than the speed of sound. Virtually. Sipping your champagne, enjoying magnificent comfort here at 30,000 feet. Really cannot wait for this aircraft to be available in Microsoft Flight Simulator from FS Labs.
Through 30 up to 60 with a prime 1013 is set, and I've got 55.3.
It's still going aft.
Alrighty, so temperature +6, so yeah, it's going to be a slow climb and acceleration today. And to illustrate on VATSIM, that's where we are. Now, this guy is following us in Concorde, like I say. I think he's pretty new. just decided to spawn at the side of the runway at Heathrow and then take off behind us. Yeah. Like, I never want to discourage people from flying Concorde, ever. I just want you to do it right.
Leg 89 is checked now.
He's actually closing in on me, so this could get interesting. In fact, let's move in front of the aircraft. Let's see where he is, if he's coming up behind me or not. Yeah, there he is. I can see some contrails behind me, which is interesting. Maybe he knows I'm streaming, maybe he's watching. Who knows? Like I say, it's going to be a relatively short stream today. I'll go for another, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, just till we get supersonic. Sorry, till we get super cruise at Mach 2. I can see him now. He's just starting to appear on the TCAS, so we're going to get TCAS warnings for him. Any VATSIM mods watching? Alrighty, now the next couple of numbers that we're looking out for, Mach 1.1, you'll hear some checks going off.
1.1 Mach. Secondary nozzles are looking good. 56.0. Going aft.
Almost as if I know what's coming. Now, the next thing that we're looking for over on the engineers panel are these indicators here. Now, there are hydraulically powered ramps on the engine intakes, 4 of them. And at Mach 1.3, the air is coming into the jet engine at a speed that they're starting to not be able to cope with it. So what these ramps do is they'll fall down and they'll be put in a carefully computed and worked out position to choke the air, cause a shock wave, and slow that air down so it reaches the front of the engines at just the right speed. And that means that Concorde can still create thrust. And so when we get to Mach 1.7 and we're sufficiently out of the high drag regime, we can dispense with the reheats and the afterburners, which halves our fuel consumption, and is truly astonishing. Now let's have a look at the radar. The radar. There you go. We got Ireland off to our right. We should have nothing to our left really. There you go, is that the Welsh coast or the Irish coast? It's the Welsh coast. And then Ireland over there. So Land's End is what I've got tuned into the VOR. And so as you can see on VOR 1, we've got 72 nautical miles between us and Land's End off to our left. So creeping up on that Mach 1.3 point now. So let's turn around and watch those ramps in action. Mach 1.27, 1.28. Let's just see so you guys can see. Now there you go. Ramp number 4 is already moving. Ramp number 3, ramp number 2, and ramp number 1. They don't always come down in the same order. It's random. I think the flight that we had the other day, it was 1, 3, 2, 4.
1.3 Mach.
There you go, and the ramps are moving.
The ramps are all modulating. 1.3 checks complete. 56.6. Going aft.
He's just messaged me, that guy who's following. You should not be Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. What are you talking about? you, sonic boom. I don't know what this guy's game is, but... Anyway, you can see we're accelerating quite nicely now. Approaching Mach 1.5, that's when we start pushing through the high drag regime of supersonic flights.
Through 40 up to 60 with a prime 1013 is set, and I've got 57.0.
It's still going aft.
I think he was asking what sim I use. Maybe it's just a breakdown in communication, because he said, you not be Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I said, no, P3D V5, and he said, okay. I think he was just asking what sim I was using. Right, the next Mach number that we're looking for then is 1.7, which we're getting to relatively quickly now actually. So yeah, that temperature's come down. It's only 1 degree warmer than we'd expect. And at Mach 1.7 we can dispense with these reheats, get rid of them. We don't need them anymore, and the aircraft will continue to accelerate because of those ramps that I just told you about that choke the air, present the air to the aircraft at just the right speed. So this is what made Concorde unique. This is what made it be able to fly at twice the speed of sound across 3,000 miles of Atlantic Ocean between Europe and the United States. Through 42,000 feet as well. I'm going to stop replying to him. Alrighty, so here we go. In fact, I should just give him the link to the stream. Should I do that?
Leg 91 is checked.
Coming up on Mach 1.7. Inboards going off.
There you go, so 2 reheats going off.
Outboards are off. 11 minutes, 12 on the reheats. AFCS.
We'll switch that on, the auto throttles.
AFCS.
There you go.
57, 5 going aft.
Sanged up llama. Welcome to live chat, remember. Alrighty, so there you go. Reheats have been dispensed with. We're flying at twice the speed of sound now. Still accelerating. You see the aircraft still getting faster and faster. Now we're going to get this aircraft to Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, which should happen in the next probably 10 minutes or so. And then I will go down and get some dinner. I think it's time for a bite to eat. Remember to guard. Sanged up llama, I don't know what you mean, mate. So we're looking at the temperature gauge here. So I'll give a quick explanation of what this is for those of you who are not familiar with Concorde. But the 3 temperatures that you can see here, The total air temperature is the temperature on the nose of the aircraft right now, which is plus 83 degrees Celsius. You'll see TMO written here in red. That is the temperature of maximum operation, or maximum operating temperature, of 127 degrees, which means if this gets to 127 degrees, we've got trouble, and I'll tell you what to do about it in just a second. Next temperature we have here is a static temperature, which, as you might imagine, is the static air temperature outside the aircraft right now at this altitude of minus 52 degrees Celsius. And then ISA, the International Standard Atmosphere, the temperature, it says plus 3, which means it's 3 degrees warmer than we would expect it to be right now at this altitude. Now, warm air for us is not great because warm air is less dense, which gives us worse performance. It means that there's not as much air going through the engines as cooler air, which is more dense, so less air particles going through, which of course means that our performance is not quite as good. Having said that, I don't think the 3 degrees above is going to make too much of a difference for us today. If we were getting up sort of, 10 degrees, that's when we might sort of get a little bit worried. And when we get to Mach 2, the temperature here on the nose of the aircraft could well be up close to that 127 degrees Celsius limit. Now, how does it get so hot? Simple. The friction of the air going over the surface of the aircraft. So if you rub your arm like that, you imagine that the air particles are doing that to the skin of the aircraft. We are going so fast that we are pushing the air out of the way with such force they're not expecting it, and that friction is heating the airframe up. So with Concorde, the nose of the aircraft could get up to 127 degrees Celsius, and if it did, we had to slow the aircraft down to reduce that friction and cool the aircraft down. Oh, Nathan Schlotter, you just ate some Chinese sweet and sour pork. Yummo. Mate, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know if you heard the news today that, what was his name? The guy from the very famous... What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? That guy. He passed away today. So I was thinking... Jack Carlson, that's his name, yeah. I was also thinking of having a succulent Chinese meal for dinner. In fact, I'll have to order it relatively soon if I do. Right, you can see that our rate of acceleration is a lot slower now since we've turned off those reheats, but our fuel consumption is also less as well. So we are still accelerating, it's just a little bit harder, as I mentioned, because of those warmer air particles there. It's a little bit harder for us to get enough air into the engines to get that performance we need. Alrighty, let's show you this beautiful bird. Listen out for that sonic bang. There you go. I think we're going to get another one here. Now, I'm from the southwest of England originally, which means that I actually used to hear the remnants of the sonic boom on a daily basis from Concorde as it's made its way back from New York to London and Paris, respectively. Where I'm from in the southwest of the UK, I'll show you. So this is where I'm from. So the British Concordes would be slowing down and coming over the North Devon coast, and the French Concordes would be coming into the English Channel here and slowing down here before going in over Guernsey and Alderney on the way back into Paris. So yeah, we'd hear the remnants of the sonic boom. Nothing more than by the time it got to us, a little thump on your windows, maybe like a sound of a car door closing. Wonderful aircraft. Very lucky to have been able to work on Concorde in a very, very small way after the retirement back in 2003. I was there at Filton when the last ever Concorde landed, and very sad day that was as well. I wonder if we've got any... I don't know if I've got any pictures I can show you. Oh, I don't. I'll save it for a future stream. But those of you who haven't already, please give thanks to our moderators over there on Twitch, Seymour Rat, Steve Fozzle, Studio Canuck, and DigiDriver, as well as the mods on YouTube as well. And I'm going to have to add them to a list and put them on the screen as well. If you haven't already, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button on YouTube and Twitch respectively, and Alpha Charlie photos on both Facebook and Instagram as well if you'd like to see some photography of aircraft. Now the QR code that you can see in the bottom right hand corner of your screen is not obligatory, but I've had a couple of questions recently as to what exactly is that. Look, this is a hobby for me. I just do this for a bit of fun. I love flying Concorde. So if you think that I'm doing a good job or if I'm deserving, you're more than welcome to follow that QR code and make a donation, even if it's the cost of, let's say, a cup of tea or something like that, if you think I'm doing a good job. Absolutely not obligatory. There's no obligation for you to make that donation, but any donations that do come in are greatly appreciated and well received. And any funds that I do get from streaming from now on, well, and in the past as well, have gone towards my flying in the real world. Now, that's definitely something that I'd like to get up and running again. Those of you who are on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've got some real world flying that I've done previously as well, and there are videos of that. So if you'd like to see more content like that in the future, please consider helping me out financially by donating to the cause. But like I said, there's absolutely no obligation to do so. In fact, maybe I'll have to start doing a few little fundraiser flights or something like that. Some suggestions maybe around the world, if I can do a sponsored around the world in Concorde series or something like that, maybe to take Concorde from let's say London to Sydney and back again. You know, make something exciting of it, and we'll do it right here in Concorde Alpha Charlie as well. So thanks for those who have donated previously and have subscribed to the channel. I hope you're enjoying the content. I'd like to make a lot more real world content very, very soon. But in the meantime, we're slowly accelerating towards Mach 2. You can see the temperature on the nose now up to 97 degrees. It was in the 80s before, now it's 97. That's another illustration that we're getting faster. Mach 1.86. That's 1.86 times the speed of sound, and at an altitude of 47,000 feet. Now we want to be arriving at Mach 2 and 50,000 feet at roughly the same time. But obviously that's very, very much dependent on temperature and aircraft performance on the day. Perhaps do some other scheduled runs as well. We've done the London to New York a few times now, of course. British Airways also operated Concorde to Barbados when they first started flying, as it was not allowed into the United States, which I think you'll all agree is a bit of a shame. But as soon as they got that permission and started on that route, it was clear to see the advantages of the supersonic airliner. Now, like I say, this is only going to be a short stream tonight. I've got a couple of things I want to get going and doing. So once we get to Mach 2 and we're settled in that Super Cruise, I might disappear. So if you have any Concorde related questions, please send them my way in the chat. I would absolutely love to answer them. I love talking about this aircraft. It's by far and away my favourite, and I think you'll understand why. So here's an example of some of the photography you can find on Alpha Charlie Photos on Instagram. Obviously Rex 737, sad news about them recently. Concorde as well. Try and put photos of every Concorde I've ever seen. A few weeks ago we had a Qantas A380 doing some flights over Sydney Harbour. I managed to catch a few shots of that as well. Not always aviation that I take photographs of. A bit of wildlife here at a local zoo. Well, I say local, it's 2 hours away. But, yep, some lions. Some great views at Sydney. Unfortunately, we can't get this point of view anymore. We're no longer allowed to take photographs up at the multi-story at Sydney Airport. But there you go. And you'll see my good mates over at Sid Squad, the live streamers, the plane spotting community here at Sydney Airport in Australia. So if you fancy it, please go over to Alpha Charlie Photos on Facebook and Instagram and chuck me a follow, and you'll see some historical nice posts as well. How's about this one? I've got the Chief Concorde pilot, Mike Bannister, signed a copy of his book for me, which was absolutely lovely. And over in Hawaii. So if you want some plane spotting content, head over to Alpha Charlie Photos on Facebook and Instagram. In fact, I'll bring you back. Here you go. This is my awful photography at 17 years old of Concorde's final ever landing with my mum's point and shoot camera. That is Alpha Foxtrot just touching down for the last time and taxiing back after rolling out. I do have other photos from that day, but they're blurry. They're not very good quality, and unfortunately, I will always regret not having better camera equipment that day. I wasn't allowed to use my dad's SLR camera. I was only 17 years old, like I said. I only passed my driving test the month before, and yeah, I'll always regret not having good camera equipment, but it was that disappointment on that day that led me to make sure that I got some good camera equipment so that we could, you know, go and take some cool photos of aircraft, and not just aircraft. I mean, I quite like this one of the crocodile, and I quite like that of the Qantas A380. And a couple of Concorde shots as well. We've got this one of Alpha Charlie at Manchester. A very special aircraft to me. All sorts of Qantas and British Airways stuff here. Some of my own flying. But there's one in particular I'm looking for, and it is from our trip to America a few years ago. There's an Air France Concorde. There we go. From a helicopter in New York, Concorde Golf Bravo Oscar Alpha Delta. So yeah, look, I'm super proud of what I've done with Concorde. Now I live on the other side of the planet. I don't get to see Concordes anywhere near as much as I did when I was in the UK, and I do miss them greatly. So this is my outlet. This is my avenue to be able to bring Concorde to the world and bring my passion to Concorde, passion for Concorde to the world as well. So there you go. In that time that I've been talking, we've accelerated up to Mach 1.95, so we're getting very, very close now. The temperature on the nose, 110 degrees Celsius, but our ISA has dropped back to 0, which means we're at the temperature that we expect. So the performance should be relatively normal. Cooler temperature, cold air, more dense, better performance. So the upper air temperatures around the tropics, around the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and that equatorial area, the upper air temperatures seem to be cooler, so we have much better performance, and we get up to that 60,000 feet a lot more regularly. Whereas over the North Atlantic, you probably top out around 57, 58,000 feet the majority of the time. Now, for those of you who are regulars to the channel and know me through other avenues, such as Sid Squad, you may have seen that I'll be joining Kurt and Matt in the Gold Coast, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Very much looking forward to that, the Gold Coast Air Show up there in Queensland. I'll be flying up with Kurt, and yeah, we're looking forward to bringing you some live streams of that event, and promises to be an exciting day. Or exciting weekend, I should say, as well, and it'll be good to finally do something up there with Matt as well, and a live stream from a remote location. So you'll see that Tim went over to Perth recently and did some streaming from over there, and that was great. He's done some from Bangkok as well, over in Thailand before now as well, and they did that amazing stream earlier this week on Monday with from the helicopter, which was just incredible. A bit dirty with Kurt. I told him that I was free on Monday. Didn't know he was planning to do that until they started the stream. Like, oh mate, there's an extra seat, come on. No, I'm just kidding. Weight and balance considerations there. Alrighty, we're coming towards the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. We got Mach 1.96, 1.97 just ticking over now on the speed, and once that gets to Mach 2 and these lights prime, I think I'm going to call it a day at that point. Like I say, if you do have any Concorde questions, let me know in the chat, whether you're watching live or at a later date. Looking at you, Captain Marco. In fact, just for you, I'm going to have to give you one of these. Why not? Alrighty, Mach 1.97. How's that air temperature doing? 113. It's getting warm. Make sure that those throttles are fully advanced. Here they are. It's a very slow acceleration. It's also, you know, the fact that we are at maximum load. All 100 passengers on board and a full tanks of fuel, full maximum takeoff weight. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Now, for those of you, I won't be streaming it, but for those of you who are curious about our route and arrival into New York, at the moment they're telling us that they're operating on the 04s, which is actually quite good for us considering that they take us all out here around the grounds before coming in towards Cameron, and then we can just intercept the localizer for probably 04 right, I would say. It'd be great if it was 04 left, but probably not. Landing on 04 right, and then it's a relatively easy taxi to our terminal over here in Terminal 7. In fact, let's have a look and see what runways are available at New York. Yeah, 4 left and 4 right, or the 13s. Well, we could do the Canarsie arrival, the Canarsie, the Parkway visual. In fact, let me show you that, what that looks like. Add that to the route. The arrival, the Parkway visual. Yeah, so it looks a bit like this red line. Oh no, it doesn't. Looks a bit like this green and yellow and blue line. So you come in across the Canarsie VOR and you make a sharp right-hand turn before touching down on 13 left. I'm not going to try that. Every time I've tried to do that approach on this simulator, I've screwed it up. So I don't want to do that. And it's not the main runway in use anyway. They're on 04, so we'll go with that. There we go, Mach 1.98. We're getting there, but it's very slow. 116 degrees on the nose. Now, that's another cool thing about Concorde as well, is that because of that heating on the airframe, because of that friction of the air, heating the airframe up to temperatures above the boiling point of water, well, what happens when you heat something up? It expands, right? So, with Concorde, on the ground, this is the flight engineer's seat here, but on the ground, this bulkhead here is right up against this engineer's panel. But in the air, at Mach 2, with the airframe as hot as it is, there's about a gap about that wide in there. You can fit your hand in. And on some of the last Concorde flights, their flight engineers put their caps inside there, and when the aircraft slowed down and the aircraft contracted back to its normal length again, those hats were trapped in there. We thought forever, but unfortunately some of the museums decided to remove the caps, which I think was very short-sighted of them. That was a very unique feature that they could have left there for museum goers to see for years to come. Alrighty, I don't know if we're going to make it up to Mach 2 by the looks of it. We're agonisingly short there at Mach 1.98. The passengers don't seem to be worried though. I mean, it says Mach 2 in there, so they've not known any different for the last however long. Alrighty, I think that I'm probably going to wrap the stream up in the next 5 minutes. When we reach the 1 hour mark of the flight, that's when I'll wrap this up. So with that in mind, let me just once again take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in. Those of you who have and are new to the channel, your support means a lot to me, so thank you very much. So if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up whether you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, and consider please subscribing to the channel. We've got just over 500 subscribers on YouTube. I would love to make that up past 1,000 so that we can do some more interesting streams and a bit more often as well. And for those of you who haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing and following the social medias as well. I hope you've enjoyed this Concorde departure from London Heathrow today, and our climb and acceleration to supersonic speeds. We're up at Mach 1.99 at the moment, and just passing through 50,000 feet now. It's a slow climb today, and what have we got? 117 degrees there on the nose. Now, when we get to 50,000 feet, the engine, there you go, control schedule.
Going in. The transonic checklist is complete. We've got 59.0 steady.
There you go, 59.0 steady. That's I was talking earlier on about the centre of gravity, and look how far to the rear that has come now. Takeoff, we were 53.5%, and then through the transonic region acceleration, that's moved further and further back. Anyway, thank you very much. Like I say, I'm probably not going to get another stream in on the Alpha Charlie channel before the Gold Coast Air Show next weekend. So if you haven't already, please head over to Sid Squad as well and make sure that you like and subscribe to their channel, where Kurt and I will be doing some live streaming next weekend at the Gold Coast. I'm sure that they're going to stream beforehand in the meantime. Streaming today from Sydney Airport with the departure of the 767 there. Thank you very much, Jacob Dudas, for the subscription over there on Twitch. I very much appreciate you, and yeah, I thank you very, very much for coming along with me today. Hayden, thank you. Thank you, Charlie. Marvellous stream, he says. Thank you to Nathan. Thank you to Sangdup, and of course everyone else who's been with us in the chat today. I appreciate all of your viewership, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you again on the Alpha Charlie channel. As I mentioned, you can support the Alpha Charlie stream by clicking the donate link if you're on Twitch, and through the details of the channel you'll see the button there for the PayPal subscription as well. Thank you so much for watching this Concorde departure. I look forward to doing another flight with you on Concorde in the very, very near future. Take care. Thank you very much.